Hey guys, Dorothy here with Done by Dorothy, and we're here today. Of course, we finished our signature, our third signature of the Touch in Nature series last night on live stream. So if you missed that, we had that last night at 9:30. So you can watch the replay of that. It is listed on the channel. And today we are getting ready to put our lace and all of that in there. So I wanted to come out and dye some of my lace. I have a ton of white lace that I'm just want other colors besides white. I want to add some color to it. Um, so I thought I would use our acrylic sprays that we had made in our DIY. These are from the Acrylic Inks. And then there's also ones from the apple barrel paint that we used at Walmart. That's, the little bottles of paint. So I wanted to try those. And I tried, this is the Quinceradone Rose. This is Amsterdam. This was an acrylic ink. And as you can see, the pink dyed gorgeous. And let me see if I can pull it up closer. You can see even the little netting between actually has a light pink color. And then the blue did great. And I actually used it with the Apple Barrel Mermaid Parade. So it came out gorgeous. So we're going to try some different ones. And I thought I would just sort of do this where everybody could see that, you can use, they're all different. There is different alternatives to dyeing. So there are those two. So I'm going to set these to the side. And I dried those. Those are good to go. So I wanted to start out I wanted to do at least a little strip with some of my walnut stain. And I'm just going to put some ink down. And you can barely see that it's really light. And I'm just going to spray a little water. And then I'm just going to rub it in there. And I may have to go back in and add some more. That's just tamper down. Put quite a bit there. I'm using this little mini pad because I had it. So I thought I would use those. Those are nice to have. And put a little water in there. And again, just going to wipe that water up. Just keep moving it around. And then just sort of smush my lace together. Again, I want this to be, sort of dye, but I don't want to overkill. And you can also use alcohol for this. If you use alcohol, it dries a lot faster because you can just lay it up somewhere and it'll I have blue on my fingers, so the blue is rubbing through, which is not good. I should have washed my fingers, but it's okay. Because I can use it on a tag or something like that. So it has that slight yellowing, and you do get some of the, well, let me grab my white paper here. So you can see it does. You sort of that walnut stain. It's sort of a black and a green and a yellow color all mixed together, which I sort of like. So I'm going to set this to the side, and we will dry all these in a minute when I get finished. Let me just collect them over here. And then I do have a wet rag so I can wipe up. So you can use ink or re-inkers. Those work well. You can use those with alcohol. Of course, you can do coffee, tea dyed, and all those wonderful colors. That's already dyed. So I have some pinks and stuff already that got thrown in there. So put those to the side. So I'm just cutting off some snips of this so I can do it in different colors. And I think one I want to do in green. And I think I want to do it in this Cloverfield. It's a really pretty green. I think I'm going to use that too. I'm just doing some different colors. Pull pulling out. Oh, there's a really nice blue. Just sort of some different pastels, but I have some dark colors I'm going to do too. So let's do one of these, and this is should move these off to the side. This is Amsterdam Red Yellow Light. This is one of the acrylic inks, and again, remember with these, let me put my lid back on, but to make sure you shake them because it will settle in the bottom, the acrylic-y pigmenty part in the bottom. Well, it's a dye base, but it will. Okay. So I'm going to do this. I just bulk all of it up in a little pile, and I'm using on a glass mat. You could use silicone mat. You can do it inside cardboard box if you want to, you know, like a spray box. And I just spray, you know, 7 or 8 little sprays, and then just take my lace and sort of mop it around. I'm not worried about my hands getting stained because, again, it's all washable. It's acrylic, all washable. So now you wouldn't want to use this and like dye something and like wear it or whatever, or not wear it, but wash it because it will lose its coloring. And then I always just sort of rub it around to make sure it gets spread everywhere. And again, this is just a really nice peach color. And then I have a excess paper over here. I just drop down on top of it. And if you sort of keep ones that blend together good, then you can sort of create you a page to put in your journal too, and you'll see it picked most of that up. And then I come in and wipe the residue up just to make sure it's all cleaned up. I'll show you that. See that pretty peach? I mean, that's just a pretty peach color. And again, that, you know, that's just using the acrylic sprays. So let's see. Let's do this next. I think I'm going to do this with the green. And you'll see, I mean, it picks that color straight up. And just sort of rub it around, get as much of it up, gathered up as you can. Then again, then just sort of smear it around, and you can really get your color moved around that way. My hands will be green, but hey. And you know, if you need to use a little more, and again, these were made out of, like this one is Apple Barrel Clover Fields, 50 cents a bottle, and I used like a teeny tiny, maybe like a teaspoon of the paint out of there. And I will link in the description box the video on how we made these. Then I always go through and just sort of make sure there's no, if you have a light spot, you know, you can rub it around in there. And again, I'm just going to put all these colors on the same page. And you'll see it picks up not a lot. There wasn't a lot left over, which is one of the nice things. It doesn't, you don't really waste a lot. And there's our green. Isn't that a pretty spring green? So we'll set this over here. And then I'm going to spray a little water on my hands just to rub it off my fingers. Make sure I don't dye everything green. Or you could use a baby wipe, wash your hands or whatever, but I already have my rag, so it's easy to do that way. Okay, I want to do some purple. I think I'm going to do some of this in the purple. I think I actually want to do some of this in purple and some in pink. So I'm just going to cut this here. We'll do part in purple, part in pink. Now, this one I'm going to use, this is the Tim Holtz Distress Spray Stain and Tattered Rose. And then again, I'm just going to sort of smear it around on. Then if I need to squirt some more, just put a couple sprays down. And I just sort of squish that and work it all together, sort of moving it around. No, I mean, there are other options. Let me put this down here. I gotta wipe this up anyway. If you want to, a more stronger color, I can lay it down on my paper. And just sort of move it down. And especially if you're going to get the overspray on your paper, but at the same time, you're going to create that lacy sort of stenciled appearance, which is really nice. So I'm going to put this up where it can dry and again, I'm going to smash this up and move it around. And a lot of times, you can twist it and move it, and sort of gives you. And there's the tattered rose. It's almost like a pinky peach color. Really pretty color. So, and if you want it not as dark, you can like get a small bowl, and put alcohol or water in it, and do a couple little sprays in here. That'll lighten the water. It'll dye everything, but it'll be like just a real faded light pink, like more like this color, just a really light pink. So there's that. Wipe my hands, wipe my mat off here before I get stuff covered everywhere. Okay. And then I wanted to do this other piece in purple. And I want to do some in blue in a little bit. I'll show you what I mean about adding a little bit of water in a container. But if you really like the bold, more bright colors, then the acrylics I really like to use for that. I think they pick it up really well. You can move it around and work with it a lot more, smishing it into everything else. Now some, you may need to, do a couple little sprays, add more to it. And you can put a little bit of this in water and stuff too. So I sort of twist it and sort of helps move all that color through there. Then I go back through, and if there's a couple places, sometimes there's places I need to, that didn't, get it all the way, then I'll get it and just sort of wipe it all up and move it all in there. Sort of making sure I work in those areas where it didn't pick it up. Sometimes it takes more, sometimes a little less. And if you have an area, you just sort of work with it until you get it worked through. Get on the back of that. But there's the purple. See the purple? And you can see, you're picking up very little residue off of that. Let me wipe my hands. Let's see. We'll do this. We'll do 2 different color blues. I love blue. Okay. So first I'm going to use this really pretty. This is, and the purple that I used was Apple Barrel Princess Purple. on, this is Apple Barrel Summer Sky. This is really light, so I'm sort of putting it on heavy here. And you can wet your lace before. Sometimes that helps if it's lace that doesn't want, if you try it and it doesn't really want to take the dye. It's an extremely light color blue, so I could wipe that with the paper, but it's not really even picking up enough to color my paper with. I don't know if you can, I mean, that's just a really, really light, pretty baby blue. And this will just give me, you know, a bunch of, you know, like lighter colors to play with. Let me put that down. Okay, I got my little container of water here. And this is Tim Holtz Distress Spray in Stormy Sky. And I'm just gonna, it was about 5 squirts. And I'm gonna do a couple different colors in the blue, and then I'm just gonna take it, push it in there. I'm gonna let it set. I'm gonna let it set over here to the side for a little bit and we'll come back to it. Okay, so I want to do some yellow. I think I'm gonna do some yellow in this. I'm gonna do some bright yellow, so I'm gonna pull out my this is Azo Yellow Lemon. This is one of my acrylic sprays. And again, I'm just really scrunching that in, trying to squeeze it, because with being the fabric, it'll go from place to place. I'm trying to mop everything up. A couple little areas that need a couple more sprays. And again, with these, I don't mind, you know, using 5 or 6 sprays because they're so economical. You don't feel like you're, you know, wasting a lot. And then again, you know, I'm just wiping up my excess, and you can see there's not a whole lot of yellow on there, hardly at all. So there is my yellow. Nice buttery yellow. Okay. And let's do a couple more colors in that. Yeah, so I've actually found that I really like the Apple Barrel, I think. As far as using it, you know, to stain this kind of lace or whatever. And that one that I just used is called Cabana Stripe, and it's an Apple Barrel. And I find these at Walmart is where I get mine from. I mean, you can buy Apple Barrel paints like just about everywhere, but you know, they're real economical. At Walmart, they're 50 cents for the little bottles, and if you want to mix your own, you can buy the large bottles for like $2.50. So like it's It's where I get my white that I use for my gesso and all that, because, you know, $2.50, that's like super cheap. No, I know you guys probably can't see this a whole lot. Let me put it on the white. You'll be able to see it really good. That is gorgeous. And that's really like a turquoisey minty color. It's just real pretty. So there's that one. Wipe my space up. And then let me see. A lot of these I had shaken up before we used them. And oh, sorry, I hit my camera. This is an emerald green, and this is the acrylic ink that I use, not the apple bottom. This is the Amsterdam. Trying to make sure I don't get it in my camera. And this is an emerald green again, and it is just gorgeous. Of course, I love green, so that really helps. But I mean, you can buy white lace, like, but it's really hard to, you know, find some of the ones in colors. So, you know, if you have a cheap, economical way that you can dye yours at home, then that really can save a lot of money when it comes to, you know, if you can buy one big thing of white and then split it up and, you know, make it in multiple colors, it's a lot cheaper than buying a little bitty bunch of. And again, that was the emerald green, and it is just gorgeous. Love it. So I have all these different color laces when I get done, but I'm trying to move them around so they don't touch each other. Okay. Oh, let me pull out my blue and check on it. Let me wipe my... I'm going to wipe my hands so I don't have all the green all over me. And again, this is a baby blue. So I'll show you the two differences. And I can use that and spray it on paper or dip paper in and dye paper with it too. So I tend to do a lot of my inking when, and I don't know if you can see, it's just this softest baby blue. So if you want a really light color, that works. Wipe my table up here. And then again, you know, if you want the dark, and I'll try to show you a comparison of the two. So you can see the difference in the two and why you can do it. And one thing to remember too is when you're watering any of them down and you're using them, the amount of water is going to make a difference. So if you use, you know, a little bit of water, you know, a couple tablespoons of water, just enough to wet it, you're going to get darker. The more water you use, the less dark you're going to get. Let me turn this over on the other side. Actually, it's way better. So there is the dark blue. And again, this is the Stormy Sky distress stain. Or I can put it in water and I get that ever so gentle, pretty sky blue. So it sort of depends on, what extreme of blue you want. And again, I used probably, 150 milliliters of water. So, if you use a couple tablespoons, you're going to get different degrees. And you'll sort of learn the more you do it, you play with it, you'll figure out like what color, what degree of color that you like. Okay. So we got that. I have these little daisies and I'm going to cut these in half. And this is the Inca Gold. And I want to spray these with the Inca Gold. Okay. Trying to get some of the blue off my hands. And again, I'm just going to smear these around. Now these are going to do better if I move them around because this does have the Inca Gold, shimmery gold tone to it. Okay. Found him a piece of paper. So you can see where they get that really pretty gold tone to them. We'll set this over here to dry. And then all of this, I'm just going to... And this is made with folk art acrylic paint you get in the little bottles. This is just the metallic Inca Gold. And I'll show you what it looks like on paper if I can get it all picked up here. Sometimes I have to smear it to catch it because the mica doesn't want to come with it. And see, it does hopefully you can see the shimmery. I'm trying to catch the shimmer. No. There you go. You can see that shimmer of the gold in there. And it's got that mica in there, so you always make sure you clean it up, wipe it up really, really good. Okay. So, what do I have left? I wanted to do this, but I wanted to do this in what color do I want to use? Give me a second. I gotta shake my bottles up. And they all have little nuts in the bottom. Because the little ball bearings you buy or glass beads or whatever are a whole lot more expensive. You can buy little nuts, a little container like 100 nuts at Harbor Freight or any hardware store for a little bit of nothing. Let's do this in the pink. And this is Apple Barrel Paradise Pink. And there's a lot of fabric with this one, so, because it's more of an eyelet lace. Well, I mean, it is an eyelet lace, but so use a little bit more paint there but with that fabric, it does suck it all up, so it's easier to get it all smushed around. And again, I'm going to grab my piece of paper and wipe it up. And you can use this to like back tags or, just that sort of thing. I mean, it sort of has the gold and the blue and the pink all mixed together. Sort of makes a really cute little page. I still can see the ink of gold on my thing. That mica doesn't want to go away. So there is our pink. Let me flip my paper over into it. And there's that. There's just a really pretty spring pink. And again, you can spray this with water. You can add more water to it and thin it down to get a lighter color, if that's what you want. So, I mean, everybody wants different colors. And I have this. I want to do some of this and this in a couple different colors. I want to do an orange, a blue, and then I want to do another piece of the purple. So let me throw that over there. So let's see. I'm going to do the grayish blue. Let me fold this over. It's got a little straggle off the end. I'll leave it on there. I could use it for a tag or something. So yeah, so when you're doing these acrylic sprays, you can use them for a lot of different things, and save on money. And you can save on time because, like, I just sprayed that all over my fingers. Like with doing this, you can do this, then turn around and hit this with a blow dryer. A blow dryer, any kind of drying gun, a craft tool, a Craft It tool, whatever. Just if you're using it like an embossing gun, you need to make sure with any thing that has, a higher heat, because sometimes I like to jack the heat up and try to speed it up, trying to make sure all the areas are covered here. If you turn the heat up too high, and it's like a nylon based, because sometimes we do get this stuff from Walmart and stuff, and it's nylon based. If you use nylon based, it will, a lot of times it'll shrink up. And since that's a blue, we'll go ahead and use it too. A little bit more layers. And there's our blue. And it's a pretty gray blue. Okay. And then we have this piece I wanted to do with the purple. Seems like these one ends don't want to dye very well. The rest of it seems to do really well. And you'll find that certain areas of certain laces don't want to dye, and the other ones will. You see how pretty that purple is? I mean, that's just pretty. And these are all pretty inexpensive laces that I've got, at different places. I wanted to do something. Oh, I wanted to do orange. I wanted to do an orange. I think I'll do it on this. I wish I had a... Sorry about that. I don't think I really wanted that much, but that'll work. That was about 6 squirts. I just want to show you that you can depending on how much water you use, changes the coloring. And I'm not even going to let this soak because I want it to be light. I don't want it really dark. I'll show you what the dark would, if I use this straight, what it would look like in a minute. So I'm going to squeeze some of this liquid out of it. Dry my hands off. I'm going to set this to the side and get out my little piece of paper. I see that comes out a really light, pretty orange. Now, let me set this to the side. I'm going to cut off a smaller piece of that because I don't want anything too bright. But okay, and so I have a piece of the same lace, and I'm going to go in and spray this one. And you'll see, I mean, to get it darker, you have to do more squirts. Did I get it all? That seems like I got it all. And just make sure I get it all covered here. Okay. I'll wipe that orange up. I don't want that on my paper. Okay, so this is the same orange. This is where I sprayed it directly. There's where I put it in water. So you can see you can get multiple colors. The thing of it is what I would do, and this is just me, when you're doing it, you may want to get like an index card and, cut a small piece off, like, a little bit so you can see and mark, I used 6 squirts and a half a cup of water, or, straight from the bottle, with whatever the color is. And that way you can go back, especially if you follow this and you follow an exact recipe. Make sure when you make your bottle, you write the exact recipe you use. If you used, measure it, if you used a half of a teaspoon of paint, how much water you use, how much alcohol you use, how many drops of glycerin you use, measure everything out so you have it exact. So you know exactly how to replicate that. And that's what I'm going to start working on as I redo mine is, writing down each individual recipe. And then every time I make a lace, I know this is what it looks like if it's straight from the bottle. Cut off a little section, put it on an index card. I have this to reference to know if I want lace to be this color, I need to do that. Or if I want it this color, then I need to do that. And that way you can always go back. And it's just one of those things that, I keep telling myself that I'm going to do, but I have not done. And then lastly, I have these little daisies like I did a while ago. And I actually want to use the Amsterdam yellow. I want little yellow daisies. And I'm actually watering it down because I want them to be really light. And again, I'm not measuring this. But I want just really, really light. So I didn't put, 3 or 4. I mean, you can see how it's almost just foggy. Then I'm going to sink it in there and let them dry. And then if I pull them out and I want them darker, then I can add a little bit more. Yeah, like, see, I can tell that's not enough. I want to put some more in there. And yellow is a bad color because, it's so light anyway. And you can wear rubber gloves when you do this, or you don't have to. And that's perfect. Let me squeeze the excess water out. And I mean, because we're using distilled water and all that, if you put a little alcohol in here, you could actually keep this. But what I would do is, if you're going to do a journal of a certain color, you want to dye a bunch of stuff, just use it till you run out. And then you have it. So let me pull this out so you can see. And it's just the lightest little yellow. And then each of the centers, I'm going to come back in with one of my little flat back rhinestones and put in the center so I have little flowers. And that was just, I think, from Hobby Lobby. I got a thing of that. So fairly inexpensive. Okay, so let me put all my sprays over there. So we've been doing a lot of sprays. And I'll show you, like I just did this. And I'm going to dry it. It doesn't take very long to dry. Again, if you're using a heated tool, crafted embossing gun. I wouldn't use an embossing gun, but if you use anything like that, you want to hold it like 6 inches. Keep on the move so you don't want to melt it if it's nylon or whatever. Keep moving it around on your paper. Or you can just lay it out like on a tray, like a parchment covered tray. Line them out side by side, and I'm trying to get this where you guys can really see the yellow, because you really just can't. The yellow doesn't show through really good on there, I guess. It's the prettiest yellow. Hopefully you'll be able to see. It may just be my computer screen. Sometimes it doesn't catch the colors as well. So, I mean, yeah, what I'll probably do, because I did so much of it, is just sort of set it out on a tray. Come back in an hour from now, it'll be dry. So, yep. So there you go. Like, that's dry. So, yeah, it doesn't take very long at all. So let me get these out, and I'll lay them out so you can see them. There's our yellow. We have our dark orange and our light orange. Our tattered rose pink. Our paradise pink. And our yellow lemon. Let me put it back up here by the yellow. And maybe if I put it next to it, you'll be able to really see the yellow. So let me try to pick it up so I can show you. So there you go. So that's sort of the yellow and red. Then we have our Inca Gold, our Emerald, Stormy Sky. That's our light blue. There's our Cloverfield. Some of these are already dry, just where they've been setting. This was the Cabana Stripe. Let's see, do we have any other blues? Oh, yep. We got our grayish blue. Trying to figure out what some of these are. Oh, that was the blue that was the other Stormy Sky. So I don't know if you can see, it's a degree darker than the other. And then we have let me pull this up. We have our walnut stain. And then we have the red, yellow, light. I'll just throw it in the middle there. Try to pull it up where you can see it. So there's a lot of different colors that we made, and all of them, with the exception of the Stormy Sky, which were these two. Oh, no. Sorry. These two, with the exception of those two and the Tattered Rose. So let me take these off because those three were made with the Tim Holtz. All of the others, let me just pile them all up here so you can see them all. All of our others were all made using the acrylic sprays. And I mean, there is a versatile palette of colors there. I mean, that's just like a big spring bouquet. And then these were made with the Tim Holtz sprays. And honestly, I like Tim Holtz sprays for paper. The blue did really great. I didn't care for the Tattered Rose as much because it gave it more of an orange versus a pinky color. Soaking it in water, it does okay if you want a very, very light one. I love, which I mean, I wanted you to see across the board what they, because you watched me do them. So you've seen the exact results as they came out. I really like the acrylic paint ones. As far as results, I liked these better. I think the colors are brighter, they're bolder, from, the lightest pastel yellow to, the darkest green, the orange even. I mean, Lord knows I don't know what I'll ever use that in, but a boho journal would look good. But yeah, so this would look really good in a boho journal too, as a matter of fact. Ooh, I like that. Okay. So I'm going to let you go with that, but I just wanted to show you, sort of some of the things you could do with the acrylic sprays. Plus I needed some of this so we could get the rest of our lace in our Touch of Nature journal. So I will let you go. I will see you next time. I hope you enjoyed this dyeing video, and if you try it, and you get some results with some of your homemades, throw them up on the Facebook page. I'd love to see the pictures. The Done by Dorothy Facebook page. If you're looking for it, there's links below, or just search Done by Dorothy on Facebook and you'll find it. You guys have a great day and stay safe. Bye.